Alright fellas, so it's actually happening. Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua is official. I don't even believe I'm saying this, but Paul and Joshua are facing off in a professional heavyweight bout in only a month's time. Although rumours of this being a possibility have been flying around since the Tank fight was cancelled, I thought the barriers which stopped it from happening when it was initially floated would be too large to overcome on this short of notice. Yet money talks, and now we'll see the two face off in only 4 weeks' time. So, with this news just hitting the internet, we need to talk about everything we know about this fight so far. How and why are we even seeing it? And really, what should we expect from all of this? Now, for Jake Paul, this will be the single biggest fight he will ever be in, and the hardest fight he will ever take. You gotta remember, up until a couple weeks ago, the bloke was preparing for a lightweight fighter, and now, after that was cancelled, he's now finding himself lining up against one of the faces of the heavyweight division. To say this is all lunacy is an understatement. None of this makes any sort of sense. But with Jake Paul, we've kinda come to expect that. When the Tank fight was cancelled, Jake handed over his team a near impossible task. Netflix wouldn't really be interested in a Paul fight unless he had a noteworthy dance partner. So, on a month's notice, that's a pretty hard task to give your team. Find somebody just as big or bigger than Tank. And a lot of people, including myself, were expecting an unexciting opponent swap. Think a Nate Diaz rematch or an Andre Ward. Something which just ticks the boxes and moves them on to whatever's next. When I originally heard the rumors of Jake versus Joshua, I thought it was just a smart marketing move to make it seem like they were back in negotiations with AJ to help maintain hype leading into whatever announcement was actually next. Because earlier this year they were in negotiations and seemed to get pretty far along, but what really shot down any chance of the fight happening then was DAZN. AJ seemed to be exclusive to DAZN, and at the time, that was what was blamed for the fight falling through. They said it couldn't happen because for the moment, AJ can't fight on Netflix. But since then, the money has obviously really talked and has made the fight happen. While also, it's been a case of brilliant timing. I think the Paul camp is willing to take this fight now because they probably know they won't get the chance again for at least 12 months. Joshua has been out of the ring for a little while now. The last time we saw him in there was in September of last year, where he got knocked out by then IBF champion Daniel Dubois. His inevitable return has since been delayed because of several issues, yet Eddie Hearn wanted to get AJ back in the ring because of a rumoured Fury fight. That seems to be on the horizon for late next year. Turkey has said Joshua will return to Saudi in February on a show there, and hopefully that will build up to the big one in late 26. But in the meanwhile, Eddie Hearn was hoping to get Joshua back in the ring against anybody in December just to knock off some of the ring rust. Although I don't think even Joshua and his team would have thought that easy fight would end up being Jake Paul, and none of them probably thought this easy fight would end up being potentially the biggest payday of his career to date. This is Netflix truly flexing their muscles. They've made money talk and walk, and have pushed through really the impossible. There would have had to be serious coin to have made this happen. Enough coin to seemingly make AJ be okay with being the B-side. This fight is being promoted as Jake versus Joshua. What world are we living in where Anthony Joshua is the promotional B-side to Jake Paul? And although you might think Jake Paul is mad for taking this fight, that's exactly what they want you to think. It doesn't matter the quality of the actual fight, they want to simply make the most viral pairing possible to have the best chance at selling you a fight. Tyson Paul wasn't much of a fight, but the virality made tens of millions of people tune in, and here we will see the exact same. Jake has been chasing one of these big fights for quite a while now. The Canelo fight was seemingly ripped away from him at the last minute of negotiations. Of course, the Tank fight was cancelled because of the promotional drama, and really there was only one big name left he would want, and that was Anthony Joshua. There's not too many bigger names out there in the world of boxing. Although he isn't what he once was, Anthony Joshua has some of the biggest reach in the sport. From the hardcore fans to the ultimate casual, everyone's watching. And that's exactly what Paul wants. He wants all of those eyes. And that's simply why they're willing to take this fight. So, talking about the fight, what we should expect is pretty simple. AJ should knock out Jake Paul cold. Anything short of a knockout is a win for Paul. After what AJ did to Ngannou, if for some reason he can't do the same against Jake Paul, it would be a dramatic failure for him. This fight will be a sanctioned professional bout. Normal boxing rules. There's no special crazy rules going on. AJ will have all the opportunity in the world to do what he does best, and most likely will have 8 3-minute rounds to do so. Jake, I guess, has a puncher's chance, but even then, really, he shouldn't. The bloke has been cutting weight, preparing for a lightweight fighter, and now in a month has to bulk up to face a massive heavyweight. And Jake Paul isn't a heavyweight fighter. He's not naturally that heavy. Against Tyson, where he bulked up to heavyweight, he honestly looked fat. And as a result, in that fight, when he did try, he seemed slow and lethargic. So I don't know how he does any better against AJ. If Jake Paul gets knocked out, it'll probably end up being the viral boxing moment of the decade. Yet, I don't think it'll be the end of him. We're talking about a guy who a couple years ago got beat up by Love Island star Tommy Fury, and since then the manager turned around his career to the point where now he has a fight against one of the biggest commercial names in the sport. Inevitably, if Jake loses, they will just rebrand it to the comeback journey, where he then goes on to try something like actually chase a world title or fight KSI. Getting in the ring with Anthony Joshua is a win for him. It brings him legitimacy in the eyes of so many. Even if you don't think so, the narrative will be, well, you gotta give him respect because he's gotten in the ring with AJ. They will say he chased the dream, fell short, and then the show will go on. In my opinion, there's not too much really at risk here other than some brain damage, and in the meanwhile, he will continue to laugh his way to the bank. Love him or hate him, Jake's career has probably been the best case of marketing the sport has ever seen. If I told you in 5 years' time, we're going to see someone like Jack Doherty face Terence Crawford, you would probably call me insane, but that's the kind of levels we're talking about here. Jake was a vlogger, not a boxer. He was a Disney kid, yet over the years, he's somehow developed into one of the biggest names in the sport, all whilst never really fighting an actual boxer. After following this path of virality, he will now find himself across the ring from one of the biggest commercial names the sport can offer. It's a story that you wouldn't even see in a movie. It's unbelievable, but it's happening. And this Friday, we'll see the show kick off with the first press conference, and I would be expecting Paul to try and pull something. They're on a really tight time frame to try and promote this fight, so I'm expecting Paul to try pull some sort of stunt, but regardless, overall, I don't even know what to think about all of this. It's all a bit insane, but at this point, I don't expect anything less from the sport of boxing. But now I want to hear what you think at home. What are your thoughts on this announcement, and how do you see this fight playing out? Let me know all your thoughts and predictions down below in the comments. If you did enjoy the video, please make sure to like and subscribe, as it really does a ton to help the channel. Yet, thanks for watching, fellas, and I'll catch you in the next one.